whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Day 2, Nightmare on Elm Street. A classic. It's a film I've seen several times in the past. I was always quite a big fan of the sort of booby trapping montage. I thought I was going to say boobies then, didn't you? Montage at the end. So I watched it again last night. Fairly familiar with it. I was sort of aware of what was coming, what was going to happen, and so on. Jotted down a few thoughts as I went along, so I'll kind of work through these as I go. Yeah. So the first thing that struck me is how much I like the opening titles. Very intrigued by the font. Did a bit of digging around. Discovered that they were done. Well, I don't know if they were done, but certainly the title treatment of the Nightmare on Elm Street bit. It was done by a guy called Dan Perry, who did loads of stuff. Did The Exorcist, did Blood Beach, both of which will be podcasted. Is that a thing? Later in the month. Exorcist not until the end, because that's the Halloween film. Did loads, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I ran out of interest, frankly, in typing them all out, but there were dozens and dozens of them, which struck me as interesting. How do you get a job doing the titles of films, just the names of the films? Interesting. So what to say? I was struck by the news footage of Tina's corpse being taken out of the house, and you'd be able to see her body on the gurney and her arm flopping out of it. I don't know how likely it is that would actually be allowed to be shown on the news. I liked the fact that when we see Nancy at school, they're doing Hamlet, and the bit of Hamlet that they're learning about is sort of relevant to the film. I couldn't remember exactly what it is. I've not read Hamlet since I was, 13 or something. It's something to do with lies and stamping out the lies of his mother, which obviously resonates a lot with what Nancy does with her mother, who can't act. I mean, I'm sorry, but the woman who plays her mum cannot act. I'd never been really struck by it before, but it's really quite poor performance. So there was that. I noticed that Nancy has her name written down like the edges of the pages, like if you take the book on its side and you sort of hold it firmly so you can write on the sides of the pages, she's got her name written across it. That was a nice touch. That whole sequence actually in the school with the body bag and her following Nancy through the school, not Nancy, Tina, sorry, following Tina's body through the school halls, I really liked. That was really good. Which actually reminded me of how much I like that blurring of kind of reality and dreams in that film. I think it's done really well. So that's that. The thing that I think struck me the most was what the film says about parents. I don't know if that's never really struck me before, but it became kind of really quite pointed, actually. Tina has got this kind of disinterested single parent mum and a kind of drunk, horny potential stepfather. So not a great dynamic there, I think, from memory of watching it last night. I did nod off a bit towards the end, but I'm pretty sure that when Tina's murdered, her mum's like in Los Angeles or Las Vegas or somewhere. Her daughter's 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that area. Oh, hello. So so Tina's mum and a strange dad are no good. Nancy's mum is a drunk who can't act. She's got this kind of overbearing careerist dad who really only seems interested in her when it can kind of advance his investigation of this murder. Glenn, his parents are sort of rubbish. They're a bit kind of dismissive and stuff. They kind of, they judge, well, the dad at least judges Nancy without, we assume, having really spent any time with her, to be kind of nuts. And the mum's just a bit yeah, I just know that struck me. Yeah, really liked it. It's good. It's a good film. Like the kind of nursery rhyme-esque do 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 type theme that runs through it a lot, actually. It's in it a lot more than I remember. That was good. Yeah, it was fine. Making stuff's good. I've always really liked the scene where Freddy's arms are really long and he's dragging his sort of glove along this gate or something. It's kind of cool. I think the thing that helps it stand up after all these years is the fact that there's so much practical and makeup effects in it, and it's not computers. Obviously there is some computer effects in it, but it's all done, most of it's done practically. So there's a bit where Nancy's lying in bed quite early on and Freddy kind of comes out of the wall and then kind of pings back in again, done presumably with a sheet of rubber or something, I don't know. But it's just really good, it's really effective, and I don't see how you could have done that with computers and it been any better. And obviously these days that would have just been done with computers, it would be a visual thing, just, right off the bat. Yeah, so there we go. Thought it was interesting. A lot of the kind of archetypical tropes of horror films are present. It's only the kids that have sex that die. And Glenn, and yeah, like I said about parents and stuff, and how the sins of the parents are visited on the kids. So what Nancy's mum and co do to Freddy is ends up, the repercussions of that are that the kids pay for it. One thing that interests me is how aware kids are now of significant kind of horror things from when I was younger. So I decided to have a chat with my son, he's 12, to get a sense of how aware he is of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And this is the conversation that we had. What do you know of Nightmare on Elm Street, and what is your opinion of it?
I think it's good.
Thanks for that.
It is.
So on tomorrow's podcast, we're going to be digging into the depths of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Interesting to know what Blonde thinks of that one.
It's alright.
Yeah. One for the poster. Yeah, so what do you know about it, Blonde?
Well, I think my favourite part, which I've seen out of any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Slightly anxious to know what you've seen.
I think the thing which I like is the ending.
Really?
Yeah. I just like the arm shooting through the window, grabbing her by the neck and pulling her back in again.
Interesting. Interestingly enough, Wes Craven hated that ending. And I think his idea of the ending was that she basically woke up and the whole thing had been a dream, which is pretty awful of itself. But yeah, that's interesting because I hate the ending.
What, you do?
Yeah, hate it. I don't. It's like it's. I don't know. You haven't seen Friday the 13th, have you? The Friday the 13th ending is very similar. Very similar, actually.
Oh, isn't it when he's on the boat and then the kid just grabs...
Yeah, I mean, it's alarming how much you know of these films you're not supposed to have seen.
Sorry.
Parenting done right.
I know that the first one is like his mother killing everyone, and then it's him wearing like a potato bag over his head.
Yeah, I don't think the hockey mask actually comes into it until like the third film, which is weird, given it's quite a well-known thing.
Oh no!
But yeah, but the ending of Elm Street is very similar to that first Friday the 13th, and it came after. I think Friday the 13th was 1980, the first one. Friday the 9th, Elm Street, 1984. All right, so you like the ending. How much do you know about it as a thing about the main characters and stuff?
I know that it's about a guy who gets burnt and takes revenge by going in people's dreams and murdering them. And then so pretend like you went to sleep.
Yeah.
And then he came into your dream and stabbed you.
Yeah.
And then you woke up again and there was like a knife.
Yeah.
Where he stabbed you, or like a little mark of a stab wound, bleeding out. Bleeding.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Like a bloody hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that.
Explain that. We bought a bloody hand from Tesco.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the name of the character?
Freddy Krueger.
Very good.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, though.
Is it, though? Is it? It's just, I find it interesting that a film that's that old, that somebody of your kind of age even knows about it. I mean, I guess partly you know about it from me. What's his main weapon of choice?
Isn't it a glove with like loads of knives attached to each finger bit?
Yeah.
Only the one glove, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Which hand?
Left.
Oh, right. That's cheating.
Right.
That is cheating. I've got a figurine of Freddy on my bookshelf guarding
whenever I
the kind of early 80s section of my King collection.
Whenever I come up here to go on a PlayStation, I have to block the sight of my eye. Because I come up here at like night time.
Do you?
Sometimes.
This is news to me. When's this happen?
Weekends.
Am I asleep? Am I when this happens?
Weekends sometimes.
Sometimes I'll just come in here and sit in here and pretend to be you.
Also,
oh, look at me! I'm a writer! Ooh!
Bang, 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 bang.
That's
bang,
quite hateful.
Keys. Yeah.
I'm a little bit offended by that, even though it's a piss take of my own invention. If I was going to do a piss take of me, that's probably what I'd do. Oh, I'm a writer! Ooh! Ooh! Anyway, Blonde, thanks for your input. there's more.
Wait.
Right, sorry.
I think
It's longer than
another
yesterday's.
bit which I like is where she's running down the street, like right at the end. But there's one thing which I don't like about it. It was when he's got his arms stretched out.
See,
scraping
it's so interesting. When I did my own, like, 'cause what I'm going to probably do is put this at the end of my podcast of this, so that it's like a thing.
Yeah.
I picked that out as one of my favourite bits.
But I like it
Because it subverts reality so much.
But I think what they could do to change it, or to help it out a bit more, is that don't make it look like its arms made of silly string. Because his arms a bit like
wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Very nice.
So it's a bit.
What's the other one?
Crudely painted, not so funny cardboard cutout phone card.
Ooh, so close.
Crudely painted, not so funny.
Plywood
cut out
folk art. Very good.
I always think of it.
Is it plywood? Plywood cut out folk art. Yeah.
Our ones here like cardboard though. Most of them. Like when you get.
Yeah, to be fair.
So
I mean, it's just a very thin version of wood, isn't it?
Like you super cool, like a sign to the side of your van saying free candy, but that's cardboard. Or just say spray paint. It looks more menacing like
Where
that.
does the idea of a van with free candy on the side come from? Is there a van parked outside your school that has free candy written on the side? Because you need to stay the hell away from that van.
But there was actually here somewhere. We're getting off topic here.
A bit.
But there was.
We're at now 15 minutes. That's fine.
A police officer warned when I was at my youth club. Warned us because apparently there's a man going around in a van, watching children basically, and they came to tell us because someone had been reported that all the way home there was this guy with a ladder back of his van watching them all the way home, parked outside of their house for about 15 minutes, realised they're not coming back out and drove away.
Blimey, what's the ladder for?
I don't know, to blend in probably.
What amongst other ladders? What are you doing? Nothing? Not Peter, are you? No, I've got a ladder. Oh, okay. Alright, any other scenes that stick in your mind? There's things that you shouldn't have seen but apparently have done.
I think isn't there a bit where there's a lady who's in bed and then she gets lifted up and there's just like blood coming out everywhere all over the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah, that's
I've seen that.
Death is that. I can never remember her name. I had to when I did this morning, I had to re-record just like one sentence with the correct character's name in it because I said it wrong.
It's definitely a woman.
Tina. It's Tina.
And there was a man there actually watching it, or another lady or something. He was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. He gets felt up for it, and then Freddy kills him.
Come back soon for the next episode of John Bolton's podcast. What horror movie will he be reviewing? Who knows? Who cares?